Well, good evening, folks. We got the one and only Ismael Perez. We haven't had him back. We haven't had him here for a long time, actually. We're long way overdue, and I've been busy as hell. As you can see behind me, my wife put a nice green screen, and she actually included the scalar wave technology. So I'm being actually radiated with some nice, friendly energy as I'm talking with you. This October 4th date is going on. I just saw your show that you did a couple of days ago with this gentleman over there in Australia. You're talking about extraterrestrials landings. You're talking about a lot of stuff. I want to definitely incorporate the quantum financial system into all of this. I want to talk to you about the fact that I'm literally 8 miles from the launch pad here with Elon Musk, and they're constantly launching these things into outer space, which every week there's at least 2 or 3, sometimes satellites joining, force with the what do you call it, the Starlink system, et cetera. So which tells me that basically the quantum financial system is not exactly ready yet. You know what I mean? I know that there's been a lot of delays. There's been a lawsuit settlement with the Ripple. I did expect XRP to go to $4 or $5 that weekend when they announced the Kabuki Theater lawsuit was over. That didn't happen. It's just, if you're talking about, truth being stranger than fiction, well, here we are. We are definitely in the, truth being stranger than fiction. And it is confusing as all hell. And you and I are as close to the fire as you can get. Ismael Perez, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, Mel. I know it's been a whole minute since I've been here. Like you mentioned, we've both been super busy, but here we are, man.
Yeah,
all in divine timing.
Right, let's talk about October 1st, October 4th, rather. I know that that's a date that's been put out there by my good friend, what's his name, Jason Shirka. And the video's got literally hundreds of thousands of hits. It was a warning that something's going to go on. We're supposed to shut off our phones. Where are you on this? What could you tell us?
All right. So initially, yes, it was devised as a final attempt by the cabal because they know they're done with. I mean, that's it. They have no more resources. They have no more money. They have nothing. They're literally hanging by a thread. So this was their final attempt to pretty much activate the poison in people's bodies in order to create some sort of a zombie apocalypse scenario. But luckily, the forces of light, the Earth Alliance, and the Galactics were on it. They nullified the 5G towers ahead of time. So it's not just done in Israel. It actually just happened here in the last couple of days. I've been notified by my galactic allies that we have nothing to worry about. You don't have to turn your phones off. We are heading into a positive, optimal timeline where the EBS will be announced. I'm not going to give a date, but it's in progress. The new financial system is going to be rolled out, and humanity is going to be liberated. So we have really nothing to worry about. So you don't have to turn your phones off after all. By the way, it's the frequencies from the 5 Golf have been nullified absolutely completely. They're gone. They're there physically, but the technology has been completely neutralized.
So the October 4th is going to be a nothing burger.
Nothing. It's just people don't need to turn off their phones.
Interesting.
Yeah, because
when they do announce the quantum financial system, how much further are we away from the UFO landing and or IFO, because they have been identified for many, many years. We should call them IFOs, not UFOs. There's nothing identified about them.
We're about a year away.
Longer.
We're about a year or maybe 2 at the most, but they say by 2024, as they roll out the new financial system, as they bring down the cabal, the Earth will be, on a mass scale, will be ready to prepare to meet our galactic allies. So I would say that first contact is inevitable. It's already, been initiated within the private sector. That's why Space Force exists. That's why Starlink exists. The quantum financial system, XRP, XLM, it's all part of bringing humanity into the space era. So I would say by, no later than 2026, we're going to be spacefaring, and it's going to be in the open. It's not going to be just within the private sector. The secret space programs are done with. We are heading into a fast disclosure, and it's all unfolding according to God's plan.
Interesting. So you're telling me that Mel Carmine will have his flying machine. He doesn't have to worry about doing 55 miles an hour and a 55 miles an hour zone anymore. And I'm not going to get pulled over and get a speeding ticket, right? And I could go 92,000 miles an hour.
Well, something to that effect, of course. But yes, we're definitely going to go into free energy, anti-gravity aircraft, hover cars. I mean, all that
Yes.
stuff is coming, and so we're living in exciting times where our planet as a whole, man, it's ready to go into a space age civilization. And for the Earth, for those that are flat earthers, they're going to be very how can I say it, disappointed when they
Okay.
come to the realization that we do live on a sphere and that there are other planets and stars and that there are galaxies.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know.
the universe, the cosmos is immense,
Yeah, I know there's a few people out there that are hardcore without mentioning their name. Okay. One guy by the name of Phil. Okay. And you know his last name. He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. I like Phil, and I love the entertainment value myself. At the end of the day, I love to be entertained just like everybody else. But the reality is, he doesn't believe that there's extraterrestrials. He believes it's a flat earth. He's very hardcore about flat earth, etc. But yeah, it is what
well,
it is.
that's what the fundamentalist religious people believed for many centuries. They believed that we were that the world was flat. I mean, wasn't that the ideology back in Dark Age, medieval Europe, 600, 700, 800 years ago?
Right.
And that ideology ruled for 1300 years until, of course, the Reformation, the Renaissance, and the scientific revolution. And then, of course, based on real science, we've come to discover that our planet, along with other planets, revolve around a star, and that there's billions of stars within our Milky Way, and that there are an infinite number of galaxies. And that's not just billions, my friend. It's infinite number of galaxies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that this whole flat Earth concept is nonsense. It's totally CIA psyops to pretty much congeal, or not congeal, but to hide the truth about the secret space programs and the breakaway groups. They don't want people to know that we have been colonizing other worlds for over 70 years,
Well,
all throughout the Milky Way and in other galaxies, by the way. So we're over 1,000 years in the private sector. They're over 1,000 years advanced in technology than the general public.
100,000 years more advanced than we are.
No, about a little over 1,000 years. So the way advanced civilizations are rated is the way they harness energy input and energy output. So the first level of star or space age travel is what they call a planetary civilization, or interplanetary, where they begin to access the funnel, which is the toroidal field that exists, that is making the planet rotate. So that's called planetary power, the first level of 0-point energy. And they use a technology called the Dyson sphere to harness planetary power. So instead of getting our energy from dead plants, from coil, from combustion, which is what we've been doing for the last few hundred years, right, throughout the Industrial Revolution, we're actually going to be tapping into the toroidal field of the planet, which is a sphere, of course, outdating the flat earthers. Our planet is a sphere. It's the way energy works. Energy goes up the northern magnetic poles, and then it comes down and it goes up in the southern magnetic poles, and it creates a unlimited amount of free energy, self-generating power as the Earth spins through the sphere. And so that is beginning stage of space travel. That's when we're first colonizing our own solar system, just like we did Mars, just like we did Ceres, which is one of the biggest asteroids. By the way, some people are calling it a planet because it's so big. And all throughout the Milky Way, we've established over 136 colonies. So that is called beginning space age. But there is also a type 2 civilization, which is called stellar. And that's when we figure out a way to harness the power of stars. Sure. So our private sector, the breakaway groups that began in the 1940s and 50s, are now at the level of stage 2 or stellar civilization. So now they're harnessing 0-point energy from our star, our sun. And that's where we're at right now.
Right. So what happens to our roadways? I mean, we got so many roadways and highways and byways and tunnels and all of the stuff that we use to drive on with an extended technology that is nothing more than an extension of the Model T Ford that came out back in 1921, right? Rubber tires, the steering wheel, a combustional engine. As a matter of fact, the first engines that came out were steam engines, I think, and also electric engines. But they said, no, we can't make any money with that. So let's put that, for a later date when we try to sell the bullshit, right? So the reality is we're moving into an era of advanced technology. You and I can see, obviously, there are some people that, you know, are not even graduated in two-dimensional yet. They're way, way behind. Okay, what happens to all these people? Number one, what happens to the roadways when, you know, Ismael Perez and Mel Carmine have flying machines? We don't need. Are we going to be using the roadways as landing places where we can land and build? I don't know, food eateries. Like we need more food eateries, right?
That's all going to be outdated. That's all going to be outdated as we bring forth the new financial system, as we bring forth the interstellar technology such as replicators, med beds, just to name a few things, free energy devices. All that stuff is going to be outdated. You know, we're going to be developing a civilization. We're going to be creating structures through the replicators that are going to be as high as the clouds or even higher than the clouds, huge buildings that are going to be acting as landing or launch pads for our anti-gravity aircraft and, of course, hover cars. So all that stuff is going to be coming into existence as soon as, you know, they roll out the new system and stuff and all of these technologies that the elites have been withholding for the last 70 years. So everything's going to change dramatically, and it's going to be quick, because through replicators we could build skyscrapers. We could build the new Earth fast within months.
So we can really knock down an entire outdated city and have it rebuilt in how long do you think?
It'd probably take a few months with replicators. Yeah, replicators is the type of technology that is connected to 0 point, where it's able to okay, in the eye of the viewer, it appears as magic. The way it's like 3D printed, but on steroids, where you can type in anything you want, and within minutes, the replicator will manifest it by being connected to the 0 point energy. In other words, it's tied into the quantum. So when people say we're going quantum, I mean, literally, my friend, we're going quantum.
No question about it. I'm way ahead of the curve, because you see that technology behind me that we opened up here in Cape Canaveral. I could tell you that we are starting to really chug along. We got people coming in from everywhere. Our price points are unbeatable. I got a lady coming in with her sister now from California, from your neck of the woods. She's actually flying in, staying here for 9 days, and we worked out a really nice package for her, etc. I could tell you that the people that are hanging out with us in our system, the scale away technology, are definitely like-minded people. We all believe in that 17th letter in the alphabet. We all believe in flying machines. We all believe in the SAR, JSAR, XRP, XLM, XDC, all of it. We believe in the revaluation of wealth that's coming. And, you know, that one guy said it to me the other day, so profound, my good friend Dennis, who comes every night just about. And Dennis is one of the coolest people I've met through this journey. He said, Mel, this place is good. He goes, first of all, he goes, there's a lot of people that envision me at some point owning the building, which I also envision myself owning the building that I'm in, number one. Number two, the building's got 80,000 square feet of space between downstairs and upstairs. So there's a lot of room to literally knock down all the walls and start from a brand new canvas and do something really extravagant. And he says, you're probably going to have to create some kind of a social club, because all the people that are part of that 17th movement are going to want to come and congregate, because we're so tired of talking to the normies who don't understand. Right. We try to show them things and they don't register, that we just want to basically start to hang out with ourselves. And I believe that this is going to be probably one of the best social clubs that's born in this neck of the woods, hence the technology, et cetera, bringing all of the like minds together. But let's talk a little bit about NESARA and JSARA and the 6,000 patents. What patents do you foresee coming that, I know that free energy technology, obviously flying machines, yes, potentially replicators, like you said, on steroids, which are like 3D printers on steroids, reverse osmosis technology of the soil, the waterways, the airwaves, the ocean in Fukushima, and what other technologies that I can't see that you might be able to maybe shed some light on?
Well, in regards to the reversal or osmosis, we're going to have the technology to literally extract drinkable water from the ocean, extracting all the salt, all the pollutions, all the bad stuff. And so on top of that, we're also going to have technologies that are beyond med beds. We're going to have holographic regenerators. We're going to have cocoon chambers. We're going to have technologies that immedially, overnight, completely clean out our entire ecosystem. Because right now, our planet, our mother, is suffering from industrialized pollution. So we're going to have the technologies to kind of fix the earth from her unhealthy status back into a thriving living ecosystem. So this is just a few, but yeah, there are over 70 patents that have been suppressed. A lot of them have to do with free energy, Rife technology, Tesla technology, that could completely change our world overnight for the positive. But again, due to the powers that were, they've been suppressing all these patents for thousands, for hundreds and hundreds. I would say not for hundreds, but in a way, yes, for hundreds, because, when you think about Nikola Tesla back in the late 1800s, they've actually had this technology for a few hundred years within the realm of secret societies. They've known about free energy devices. So it's coming, this is the best time to be living in. I always tell people, thank God, be grateful that you are incarnated on Earth at this time, because the changes that are coming are going to be incredible, and we're going to be reaping. We're going to be the pioneers of a whole new Earth when all of this stuff happens. And I am so glad that there are, a lot of forces out there that are working together to make sure that humanity does become liberated and prevail in a new era, of course, of brotherhood and sisterhood and harmony.
Yeah. Well, the reality comes down to this. We've been taught in school, at least, and in our mainstream media, that we've been in search of intelligent life. And we've had a hard time finding intelligent life, walking down the street. Meanwhile, we're searching for intelligent life out there. It's all one big show, one big kabuki theater with the satellite dishes and all the stuff that we haven't needed. Because I have pictures. I've had friends come into my social club, which stayingalive.com is turning into a social club of sort at some point down the road. I'm sure, because after their sessions, we're all hanging out in the hallways talking about all this great stuff that we talk with you on camera while we're in record mode, right? And I can tell you that, the conversations are so deep. I should have the cameras rolling at all times, because I could probably catch multiple podcasts at the same time, to be quite honest with you. So, the fact is, do we have a cleansing of the earth where we're out with the old and in with the new, and all what's only left is intelligent people, and the sort of the normies are going to fade away and go into another dimension, another timeline? What does that look like?
Well, the normies are going to have an opportunity to know the truth when, of course, through Project Odin, the White Hats and the Starlink satellite become activated, and all the airwaves are being controlled and taken over by the White Hats. There's going to be a revelation on a worldwide scale. So the normies are going to have an opportunity to either accept the truth or not. But there's also an event that we're all expecting called the Great Solar Flash. And so they will have an opportunity to either evolve with the rest of us into a new Earth, or de-evolve and be recycled into another Earth on a parallel universe that is still undergoing the Dark Ages. So, in that case, they're going to have to wait another, 26,000 years until that Earth reaches it's at the end of their Dark Age in order for them to enter a Golden Age. But there are going to be a bifurcation of different timelines going to different directions when the solar flash takes place. So depending on who they are, depending on their level of vibration, that will determine if whether or not they go into the ascending positive Earth timeline or a negative version of the Earth. But right now, all of those Earths are actually coexisting at the same time. But when the bifurcation takes place, there's going to be a split. So we are at the crossroad right now. We are at the precipice of a whole new world, and we have to make that choice. Unfortunately, some of the billionaires are choosing the transhumanist path. They're heading into the AI dystopia, which is going to be ruled for 1,000 years, right? That's the prophecies within a lot of the religious books, right? The Antichrist rules for about 1,000 years of dark ages of darkness. As they can, lose their soul, of course, if they integrate with technology, that's one of the things that's going to be happening, is that they're going to lose their soul eventually. And then you have other people that are not part of the transhumanist timeline, but yet choose not to wake up, and those are going to be recycled into a different Earth that is still undergoing dark ages. And then you have those that decided to wake up, and by will they decided to be part of a better world, and those are the ones that are going to be reaping the new Earth.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be fascinating.
I think that part of the problem, and I think you'll agree with me, Ishmael, is the fact that these people's pineal glands are so polluted that it doesn't matter what you say or how you say it, even if you say in the most simplistic terms, they still don't understand you. And because they don't understand you, they got to try and figure out how to make you look like the fool and make you look like you're the quack job, and sort of like, make themselves feel better about the whole entire situation as they exit stage left and walk away from you, because that's all they know how to do. I mean, that's what I see anyway.
Yeah, well, about 30% of the world populations are actually NPCs, or soulless people. They're generated by the Matrix. So a lot of those people that we would consider normies have no soul. They have no consciousness. They're totally controlled by AI already, or they're just animated by artificial intelligence. And that's why every religious prophecy talks about this harvest, right? So this is where we weed out all the soulless people, and only the people with souls are going to be given an opportunity to ascend.
Right. You notice, for example, the debt clock is doing some real funny stuff lately. Like our debt is going backwards. Did you see that one recently?
No, I haven't.
If you go to the usdebtclock.gov or whatever it's called, the debt is spinning backwards. I think it has a lot to do with the SAR. Where are we in the timeline of the XRP, XLM, XDC, and them having no choice to roll out? Is there one last, as Cliff High is saying, there's going to be potentially a catastrophic thing as these evil cabal exits this planet once and for all, their final battle? There could be something as catastrophic as 3 times greater than what happened over there in New York with the Twin Towers. I want to try to keep this conversation under the radar for Fluff Tube, and potentially as much as 13 times greater than that.
Well, like I said, on a positive ascending timeline, there are parallel Earths. We're not going to be witnessing any more disasters or any more catastrophes where billions of people die. I think they're done with, my friend. I think that all we're waiting for is just the EBS to go through, the new system to be rolled out. So I think they're done for. I don't think anything negative is going to be happening anymore. Gotcha. I think the last attempt was October the 4th or October the 11th, or in between that gap. I think that was their final attempt, and I believe that they have failed because, again, we've completely nullified. Not us, but the Galactics have the technology to override our, inferior technology compared to theirs.
Does the Galactics in any way, shape, or form work with TLS?
Well, I call them the Earth Alliance. I call them the forces of light of the Earth, and they've been around, since Atlantean times. They are the forces behind the Melchizedek lineage. So we have 2 lineages that have been battling throughout the millenniums. We have the Leviathan bloodlines, which is the Luciferian, demonic, Draco human bloodline, which is what these Cabal families are. And then you have the Melchizedek bloodline, which is the line of Zeus, King David, Solomon, Jesus, Mary Magdalene, JFK, the Kennedys, Mr. T. They're all part of that bloodline. So, the forces of light have been around for thousands of years, and they are related and associated with the Melchizedek lineages. So I think that perhaps on a parallel Earth, they are known as TLS. It seems like everything that TLS does is corresponding to everything that the Earth Alliance is doing. The clearing up of the tunnels, the counter attacks against the globalists, the neutralization against massive destructions, the securing and saving of the children, the underground battles that have been taking place between the good guys and the bad guys. All that stuff is so related to what the Earth Alliance has been doing. So maybe that's just another name for them. But all I know is that throughout history, the forces of light have never left. They have been working from behind the scenes. Otherwise, we would have already been under an empire. Think about all the attempts that the dark forces tried since Babylonian times to create a world fascist system with Babylon, and and all the empires that led to the Roman Empire, and then after that the reorganization of the harlot, right, the Mother Catholic Church, which was another reorganized attempt by the cabal to bring everybody into their control and power through fear, right, the Dark Ages.
Sure.
And then of course now the NWO. I mean, so when you think about it, the forces of light have been operating for thousands of years. And yes, at the highest level, they are like Gandalfs. They are like white wizard magicians, where they have telekinetic abilities. They're telepathic. They have supernatural talents that most of us would be like, whoa, that's the, stuff that we only see on sci-fi or Marvel or something, Marvel movies. But yeah, we do have super soldiers. We do have enhanced humans that are working within the realm of the Earth Alliance that are equipped to pretty much engage in a battle against the Draco, the 15-foot Dracos, and other negative species that have been existing within the underground tunnels.
Sure.
So that does exist, yeah.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, did you finish your second version of the book? I know you were working on it back when I interviewed you about 6 months ago or something like that.
Well, I do have a new edition. What I did is I completely restructured my book, Our Cosmic Origin, and I added a new chapter revealing what's going to happen after the ascension, which goes into like the future, which is very, very revealing.
Where can people get that?
Through our cosmicorigin.com website, our cosmicorigin.com. You could actually press Amazon. I'll give you the link, and that way people could just access
the link right underneath your video at all times. This way, Amber will keep it there. People can go there anytime they want. Let's talk a little bit about Antarctica and how it fits into this overall quantum financial system. And do you think that once, this is a two-part question, once this whole thing blows over, that people like you and I, obviously we will have our hovercrafts or anti-gravitic machines, whatever you want to call them, where will we be able to travel inside Antarctica, where right now we are forbidden to go there?
Oh, Antarctica has always been a refuge for the draconian reptilians and the negative aliens. In fact, even during Atlantean times, they were operating in secret under a secret base called Base 211, and it's still intact. And it's a base that was also used by the Nazis when the Nazis negotiated or created a treaty with the Draconians. So yes, we're definitely going to be having access to all of that, and all of those facilities are going to be overrun by the Earth Alliance and prepared for interplanetary communication, interplanetary travel. So what they have as launch pads, we're going to be just reforming them, and we're going to use them for positive space travel and all that stuff. There's a lot of portal technology, a lot of ancient artifacts, technologies that have existed for millions of years that are non-functional, but I'm sure when the time is right, we're going to be able to figure out all of that hidden technology that is in Antarctica, can't even say it, and we're going to use it for good. Gotcha. So all that's it's going to be giving back to us,
Cool. And 107, okay, he makes his rounds on a lot of shows. He's on a lot with Nino Rodriguez, as you know. Is he, according to yours truly, Carrie Cassidy, Project Camelot, she swears up and down that the 107 is JFK Jr.
I agree, because he never boarded a plane. It was all staged. He never left. He never died. And I believe that the Earth Alliance have been secretly protecting him since supposedly he disappeared on the airplane. So
I've been interviewing the vice president of the United States on going on, I think, number 4 or number 5. He's coming on my show Sunday.
Wait, say that again.
You're telling me that I've been interviewing the vice president of the United States, JFK Jr., which same as 107. He's coming on my show this coming Sunday at 5:00.
Yes, because he has to disguise himself until the time is right. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think he's telling the truth. I think he is the real deal.
I tried listening to his voice when he was younger, right? And I tried to listen to his voice now. And I'm not a voice expert, but I can't find any correlation there. Have you tried doing that?
No, I haven't. I just go with my intuition.
Speech patterns are not going to change much.
Right. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to really investigate him, but I'm just going with my intuition, and my intuition is telling me that JFK Jr. never died, and that he has been in hiding, and that recently, within the last few years, he's through a disguise, he has been able to come out, because the Earth Alliance has been gaining momentum since 2016, thanks to Mr. T throwing a monkey wrench in their plans when he was in office for 4 years. So I wouldn't be surprised if JFK Jr. is 107 or 107.
Okay. Well, you just did a podcast a couple of days ago with this gentleman over there in Australia. I don't know what's the gentleman's name.
I think his name was God, I've been doing so many interviews lately, I forget who's who. I mean, I remember your name, of course, but yeah, I forget his name.
That was a really, really great interview. What do you think of the fact that this XLM XDC is still where we're at right now, is being suppressed to the levels that it's being suppressed?
That's just part of the chess game that's been going on between the white hats and the cabal. But as the cabal begins to deteriorate, which is what's happening, we're going to be seeing a huge increase, where all of a sudden people are going to be just buying gold and silver like there's no tomorrow, and that's going to just rise. So we're going to be seeing, as we witness the fall of the cabal, we're going to be seeing a huge increase in XRP and stuff like that.
Gold and silver. Miles Franklin, guys, link down below. Lowest prices will deliver the gold and the silver to your doorstep anywhere in the world. Don't even waste your time looking for cheaper prices. They don't exist. 2024, you talked about 2024 on that show with the gentleman over there in Australia. And I think he said that Trump is not going to get reinstated until like 2025.
Well, everybody has different opinions, but I believe that he's coming back. I believe he never left. I believe that there's been two parallel governments coexisting. We have the quasi-fake government being promoted by the fake media, and then we have the real government where Mr. T still our president and has been the last 3 years. So
these people have been all executed. We see him scratch his neck when you see the masks wrinkling, and it's different actors playing him at different times, etc. I don't believe anybody that's in Washington D.C. I think they've all been dealt with. They're just giving us the clones or the actors to keep everybody calm. They don't want a civil war, etc. You know what I mean? Not that the normies would even know how to handle a gun, but you know what I mean. So my question, I guess, is, are you on the same wavelength as me as far as thinking these people have already been dealt with, or are we looking at the real person, the real Biden? I don't believe it's him.
Yeah, years ago they were all taken to Gitmo. He's on his sixth. He's probably on his seventh clone by now, and that's why he keeps malfunctioning. At this point, he's just robotic. He's just robotic.
So you think now they're lining up for the indictment of his son Hunter, correct?
Yes.
Hunter is going to take down Dad. Joey Bag of Donuts is gone.
The whole family's going down. Even the wife is a criminal.
Yeah, because when they talk to him, the White Hats, the Army, whoever, and they say, "Dude, you're facing life without parole and potentially, you're going to face a death sentence. You got to give up Daddy." Okay, I think he's going to give up Daddy. What do you think?
I think that they're all going to be facing the death sentence. It's not just Hunter.
Again, it's a what do you call those Muppets, right? That somebody's controlling the strings behind. It's the White Hats controlling the whole entire storyline, but we're dealing with a clone son, a clone husband, a clone wife, the whole entire administration of the Joe Biden administration is a clone circus act, if you will. Right?
Well,
someone's controlling this. I mean, when he scratches his neck and leaves a wrinkle behind his neck, which that video has made its way around the world 199 billion times, right? They're not doing that. It's the White Hats controlling it with a little remote control, saying, "Okay, let's see if we could drop a little breadcrumb so that the normies can pick up." You know what I mean? Let's see.
I wouldn't be surprised, my friend. But you have to understand the real controllers behind Washington are the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds,
right?
And those are the ones that are really going to be facing punishment or justice, rather.
Right.
Not just the puppets. The puppets, but the people above the puppets that are, telling the puppets what to do, that are writing their scripts, right? Their programming. Those are the ones that we're going to be seeing. They're going to be facing justice, and everyone's going to be witnessing that.
Interesting. Anything else that I leave anything out based on current events? I know that I've been missing out of the loop for quite some time with building this staying alive business with my wife. But is there anything else that I left out? I know you're in the loop. This has become pretty much your life. I know there's a lot of moving stuff that's been going on. I get videos sent to me all the time. Is there anything that I left out that the audience should know?
Just that, God, there is a God, a universal intelligent designer that is ultimately in control. And that despite of all the fear mongering out there, just know that the forces of light won the battle already. And because they start from the higher dimensions, it's just a matter of time before we see it ripple out here in the third dimension. So it's just about being patient enough to witness the birthing of a whole new world, as we enter the golden age. Yeah. That has been prophesied. So it's all about where you put your attention. So if you like to put your attention on negative apocalyptic scenarios, well, that's probably the timeline you're going to be reaping. So wherever you put your attention, it's what you're going to be experiencing. Remember, guys, the matrix is held together through consciousness and perception. So make sure that you direct your attention over into whatever it is that you want to experience in your life, not what you don't want to experience. You know what I mean? So, and not to mention, I'm also going to be speaking at the Stairway to the Stars Disclosure Fest, November the 12th, 13th, and 14th, I believe. I think sometime during the second week of November, I'm going to be at the Luxor in Vegas as one of the presenters. I'm also going to be speaking on the AI panel and on the Earth Ascension panel. So for those that want to come see me in person, I'm going to be in Vegas November 12th to the 14th, I believe, or 15th. 12th, 11th to the 14th, somewhere along those lines. You could just look it up, Disclosure Fest, Stairway to the Stars, and I'm going to be there for those that want to come and join me in November.
Also, is there any Florida travel in your plans in the near future?
Not that I know of, but if there is, I will let you know.
If you do, please do, and maybe 2-3 weeks in advance, this way we can plan a live event here on stage, and we got room. Nice. We got room for 120 seats. If we get the little fold-up chairs, we'll rent a bunch of those chairs, and we could definitely get the event pretty much sold out for you before you get here. Make sure you have enough books to sign. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So,
all right.
Yeah. So we have where the business the business model has been built with the event built into it. We're doing workshops. We're doing events with podcasters, et cetera, et cetera. So it's very exciting. I love being alive around this time because I'm telling you right now, even though it is tiring fighting this war, I'm definitely not bored. I can tell you that for sure.
I feel you, brother. We're all in this together.
I remember you saying something about Trump being a time traveler. And could you maybe enlighten us on that a little bit, if you don't mind? Sure.
So even though technically at the end of the Eisenhower administration, the plan was laid forward that later developed into the White Hat agenda. The plan was laid forward by Valiant Thor from Venus. And of course, Dwight Eisenhower is the one who set it into motion. Kennedy was the one that was supposed to implement it, but we know what happened to Kennedy. They used time travel because of the fact that John Trump, who was his uncle, T's uncle, was really close with Nikola Tesla. And Nikola Tesla did invent time travel. He was the first one to actually use it before the cabal got to his work. And so the White Hats have been using time travel to pretty much pin down the cabal on every probable future timeline.
Wow.
Before the technology got to the cabal, the Nazis, and of course the ICC and the globalist fascist. So yeah, Mr. T has been time traveling since the beginning, since he was a kid. His whole family, whether they talk about it or not, have been part of the White Hat plan.
Well, I tell everybody that we do sit in the vortex, and we do. And like I said, I'm about 8 to 10 miles away. If you were to hold out a string straight out, I'm about 8 to 10 miles from the launch pad. which we get these things to launch every week, what have you. But there's been photographs of triangular crafts, which I believe that technology was confiscated, not confiscated, but copied in a sense.
TikToks. That's what they're called. TikToks. They're called TikToks.
Oh, the triangular craft?
Yeah, the triangular crafts. Yeah. That was given to us by the when we signed the Grayada treatment, which was actually signed by Truman right before Eisenhower came into office. It's just that Eisenhower had no, at that point, he knew that Truman sold us out to the negative alien agenda through the right.
Well, I think that technology happens to be a gentleman that we have on our wall in the center, a gentleman that literally took over where Nikolai Tesla left off, by the name of John Searl. Are you familiar with John Searl's work? S-E-A-R.
I never have.
Yeah, John Searl is known as the godfather of free energy technology. He explained it because I used to talk with him on a regular basis, at least 2-3 times a week on Skype. Remember that old platform Skype? Yeah,
I do.
And it's still around, but nobody uses it anymore. But the reality is that he explains it in a sense that he had these vivid dreams that like he was there. And I say, no, John Searl probably got abducted. He just doesn't understand that he got abducted. And they gave him the technology. And he basically built a magnetic motor, demonstrated the motor for his landlord. And the thing literally started to hover because he had no idea how to contain the energy. It started to hover over the kitchen table. It was about maybe in diameter, maybe I would say about 36 inches, 30 inches in diameter, and the thing started to hover and literally shot into outer space, made a hole through the roof of the guy's house, which got him evicted. Fast forward, he goes and lives in a complex, a condominium complex or like a garden apartments complex. And the authorities realized that, hey, there's about 100 people that live here, but there's one particular gentleman by the name of John Searl who's not paying for an electric bill for 3 years. So they had to pay him a visit. So they confiscated the machine. They brought him into court. And if it wasn't for the judge to realize that John Searl was the most clever guy in that courtroom, he probably would end up in jail. Fast forward timelines. He goes and works for a company by the name of Midland Electric. Midland Electric is equivalent to General Electric in the United States. And he recruited the best engineers, the best minds in that space. And he basically said, guys, I got this technology, blah, blah, blah. And so basically with that, they were able to build these crafts that were maybe, I would say maybe about 35 feet in diameter at this point, okay, in his backyard with a bunch of engineers that he got really motivated to do this. And they were able to tap in with a ham radio signal, and they were able to do trajectory of flights in the UK back in 1946, where this craft was being clocked at more than 2 miles per second. Okay. And people were calling in, the firemen, police officers, lawyers, janitors, whatever, saying, hey, we just saw a flying saucer. They didn't see a flying saucer. They saw John Searl's flying machine, right? Now, I meet a guy by the name of Bradley Lockerman. Bradley Lockerman is a guy that now lives here. He's probably moving very close to my center. And he's an actor. I didn't know he was an actor. I brought this guy to the table who needs a machine that can produce energy in infinite amounts, because this guy by the name of Joby Weeks, who went to jail because of his partners, they said an old saying, if you sleep with dogs, you're going to wake up with the fleas. And so this guy, unfortunately, he's in jail innocently. And so we needed $5 million to finish John Searl's technology. The only one that was able to reverse engineer it was a guy by the name of Paul Brown, who wrote a book. They wrote a book about him called The Last Life of a Nuclear Battery, which was written by Phil Talbert, the old CEO of the John Searl Spintronic Motors. And so we bought Joe Stupek. Joe Stupek was, still is. Joe Stupek is a world-renowned magnetic scientist who worked at NASA. Him and his whole team. We showed him what we have and what was missing. He said, there's no question that we could finish it and probably make it even better. We bought in a magnetics company out of, Germany, $600 million company out of Germany. They looked at it and said, yeah, we could work along Joe Stupek and his team. We could definitely finish it. And then this guy ends up going to jail because of, there was some bad stuff happening with this company called Bit Club, but they were mining Bitcoin. So they're ready to spend $5 million. Why? Because they were spending $5 million usually on practically every 2-3 months on what? Energy costs, mining what? Bitcoin. So they said, if we can get this technology built one time, we get free energy, we never have to pay for mining Bitcoin ever again. Right? And they were almost ready to hand us the money. Next thing you know, Joby Weeks is missing in action because he went to prison. True story. You know? So I'm surprised you don't know about John Searl.
No, yeah, I never heard of him before. Thank you for telling me.
Yeah, John Searl, Searl. If you go on YouTube, there's millions of videos on John Searl. Yeah.
Okay, I'll look him up.
It's a fascinating story. I know the whole story, but that would take probably about an hour and 45 minutes to tell the story from beginning to end of John Searl. There's actually a documentary on that you could buy from Bradley Lockerman, who's a filmmaker and an actor, on Amazon. It's called The John Searl Story, and it's a fascinating five-star award-winning documentary.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Brother, it's a pleasure having you. I'm going to hold you over for maybe 2 minutes. I know you're busy. You got to go. But it was a pleasure speaking with you. I hope that we get done with this revaluation of wealth. I'm waiting impatiently like everybody else, but I keep moving forward no matter what. But let's catch you guys on the next one. Guys, if you like this content, please comment below and spread it out there. Ishmael, great job as usual. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. And then for those that want to have access to my YouTube channel, it's called The Real Ismael Perez. I'll give you the link if you want.
Yeah, we're going to put it below. We're going to put it below our video here for sure. 100%. Yeah, we like to cross promote. I'm sure you like doing that too. So I'll send you the video so you could put it on yours as well.
It's just I have so many pirated channels that are stealing my content, all my interviews, and they call it the Ismael Perez interviews, the official Ismael Perez, and those are not mine. You know, I only have one YouTube channel, so it's The Real Ismael Perez.
I have two, but anyway, thank you for telling me this way. We'll put the links down below, and by clicking on the link, you'll go into the official Ismael Perez channel. So thank you guys. We'll catch you in the next one.
All right. See you, brother.